what I love about this conference, and I think working in the Guild in general, is it's a chance for producers to get out of their bubble. Right? I originally came to the Guild because I was a short form digital producer, and I realized that I didn't know what it was like to produce longer form pieces, big budget pieces. Oh, that I knew what it was like to produce a big budget piece. And it's been an opportunity for me to mix and match my experiences with other producers. And I've seen at previous produced bys, and I've seen at this produced bys, producers who are major television shows sitting down with somebody who's a producer of a digital series and having this engaged conversation that isn't, mentor to mentee. It's collaboration and, wow, you do that, and how do you do that? I see people that are working on traditional art form of film, trying to understand what this new mediums are coming about and what should they be concerned about. And, so it's the sharing and collaboration that I always find exciting. Sometimes I have a hard time going to sessions simply because I'm busy talking to people out at a break session. I think that's why we have such long lunches, frankly. What I really hope people walked away at the end of the panel, and this is actually really for the Guild in general, is that we set up the problem set. You cannot answer this question of everything I always want to know about VR and afraid to ask in an hour and a half, frankly. One group of people wanting to talk about cameras, one people want to talk about story writing, one people want to talk about, well, who do I hire? So what we really set up, I think, is the desire to know more and to hopefully instill with this community that we are going to bring them more. I mean, our plan is to put together a full workshop, day-long workshop, where we really dive into this topic from the top level question, answering this question. I have to produce what? Because if you look at the pre-production, production, post, distribution, we really need to dive into all aspects of that for producers to start getting a handle on it. Because it does start with that pre-production moment of, I've been told I have to produce a VR piece, or we're going to do a VR piece. What does that really mean? And breaking it down to the starting of 2D 360 all the way up to full interactive VR, and then starting to understand the parameters. So the session, I think, gave a good primer to people. I got a lot of great feedback on that it helped people along that way, but I know that we did not answer all the questions. You can't. I think the big misconception about VR is there is so much hype about it that the surface layer is, oh my God, I'm missing out on something. And the reality is no. If you look at the camera systems that we have out today, they're really not even at a V.1.0, if you will. It's sort of the precursor of the camera systems. Everything here is being made up as we go. And there is a lot of rush to it. But I caution people to think about the days of 3D TV, and a lot of the same hyperbole that's being used about VR was used about 3D TV. And we know where we wound up in that sort of race. So to get people to step back, to understand that it is an emerging art form, it's a fascinating art form. People in the gaming world, however, have been doing this. Put yourself in the middle of an experience and be able to wander around or interact or watch something happen for quite some time. So it's not a new form of storytelling necessarily, it's just a group of people that are coming to this form of storytelling. And they need to understand where it fits into their world. We don't have that many people that own the helmet, the display devices that you strap on your head of the resolution. I mean, it's a really small percentage of people. A much broader percentage of people can go onto YouTube or Facebook and be able to scroll around a video. That's not the same thing as a fully immersive virtual reality environment. So people understanding that VR actually stands for a continuum that goes from here to here. I actually think, the Fox team that did, and virtual reality company, Fox, all the people that worked on The Martian, a 20 to 30 minute experience. And I say 20 to 30 minute experience because you can interact lightly with the environment, or you can just move through the environment. So it doesn't have a run time, if you will, that is hard and fast necessarily. But that gives you a sense of the world. You're in the world. It's not just a quick sizzle reel, if you will, and you are that astronaut. So that to me seems like a step in that direction of, oh, this is what we're trying to do with this, and to give people a sense of that. So that's really one of those holdouts that I see right now, is the kind of resolution, the kind of storytelling, the kind of effort. But there's going to be more, and I know a number of them are under production. I know a number of folks that are, the Sci-Fi Channel is actually looking at a VR series to accompany one of their television shows. So we're starting to see a lot emerge, a lot of experiments. The best thing a producer can do is sample, sample, sample right now. It is the fact that it is a fragmented market. I mean, there's a number of concerns with it, but it is a fragmented market. There isn't one specification to rule them all. The actual people that can experience that full immersion into environment with handsets and controllers is relatively small. I mean, really small. When Vive sold out at less than 100,000 units to begin with, it is not like we sold 10 million and then we stopped. Those are the things they have to be concerned about. This isn't I'm going to go make big bucks in it right now. Lot of experiments. I had a conversation with a couple of the panelists yesterday. One of the panelists asked off the site, says, go ask about how much money's going into this. It's still a lot of marketing dollars, not a lot of big budget bets, and that's understandable for what this is. If you think about it as when we started doing digital extras and adjunct material to, say, a long-form film or a TV show, those were experiments in digital, marketing dollars. And I think we're sort of in that same phase with VR, where, not a lot of big budgets are being put to a series yet. We're just not sure. So I think experimentation and that healthy dose of skepticism and understanding of who's actually going to see what you're doing. Now, if you do something that is a 2D 360 piece, something that is relatively flat, and I'm in the center point and I'm scrolling around or doing this, you can have ubiquitous, almost worldwide distribution on YouTube and Facebook. You can put it up there today. People can see it. But it's a relatively flat experience, not necessarily immersive experience. But if you just want to give somebody the perspective of, oh, you've never sat in an interview chair, here's what it looks like from this perspective, Okay. But those are not necessarily big storytelling moments. Those are snippets, and, it's, what is it like to stand on the cliff at Victoria Falls? That's a snack, but it's not a full-length story. I think what I say to people is, if you can tell the story some other way, you should be telling it that other way. If it's better served by a 2-camera shoot, maybe it's better served by a 2-camera shoot. But if you've always wanted to tell a story from a unique perspective, that you've I really want to put somebody in the middle of this, that's where this can start to serve as an art form. And I think that's the real key that people need to approach, is that this doesn't supplant other shooting methods. It is a different shooting method that tells a story differently. And it's got complexity, it's got challenges, but if it serves what you want to tell the best way, then you should do it. I look at VR projects right now and I say, unless we can tell the story or give a perspective in a unique way that you couldn't do any other way, then why do it? Then it's just somebody go, well, wouldn't that be better served by just a POV camera? Or, so that's, I think, the challenge right now is, but I do see storytellers just being so excited about being able to say, you know what? I'm going to put the character in the center of the story. Like I said, talk to any game designer that has developed a first-person perspective game. They have enjoyed saying, I'm going to put you in the middle of this and then give you a world to explore.